All I can say is please give us a season 2. This show was an absolute riot, an enjoyable show from episode 1 all the way to episode 12. I think the cast dynamic was some of the best I've seen in recent memory for a comedy series. There was never a dull moment. I mean, you can't have Tiger Man do what he did in this episode and not come out saying that is absolutely some of the worst shit ever, but also simultaneously being the funniest shit ever. As you watch an evil organization, a group of evil characters, get away with shit that would get them cancelled anywhere else. This show for me is my personal favorite work that the author has made, and I've loved everything the author's made to some degree. And while I do want a season 3 of Konosuba, I want to see that season 3, I also want to see a season 2 of Combatants Will Be Dispatched. There's a lot of possibilities for more. But if for whatever reason, this is one of those anime that never get more, it does leave off in a pretty satisfying way. That should you pursue the source material, there's still tons left to explore, but if you're more of an anime-only type person, it's a pretty satisfying stopping point. It's always interesting though when I see that people say that the characters in Combatants Will Be Dispatched, there's no depth to them, there's nothing that really sets them apart like in, say, Konosuba where the chemistry evolves over the episodes. To that I say absolutely disagree, because, I mean, just look at Alice as well as Agent 6 towards the end of the episode. Sure, you get the whole dick joke and her taking care of him, but you ultimately have a situation where you have a really sweet bonding sequence indicating a potential relationship romance brewing, because in all honesty, Alice and Agent 6 probably do have the best chemistry out of anyone, and despite her being an android, I mean, they really do feel like they are best suited for one another. You see some really nice growth with them. From episode 1, they were reluctantly working together. Alice was this emotionless, she was just a robot, an android tasked with a mission, but over the last month of episodes, we've really seen her start to embrace a more humanity side of things. She's showing emotions, and she's really grown to care for Agent 6 as a person, which is why she loves being with him, and why she said she would take care of him even if he was old and needed his diaper changed, basically. There's been some amazing growth. I mean, even just look at some of the simpler moments with, say, Agent 6. Something that I think a lot of Konosuba fans really enjoyed in the later episodes is that when characters were feeling down or characters were, like, really in a bad situation, there was a type of friendship among all the asshole nature of all the individual personalities. We see that exact same thing with Agent 6. I mean, look at someone like Rose, right? She was very much terrified to go out and try to stop things on her own accord. So Agent 6 said, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. He made up an excuse. Sure, it still results in comedy, but you're seeing that this has really become a group of friends. They are delinquents, they are absolutely insane, but similar to that of like a Konosuba cast dynamic, you get exactly that. I completely understand if sometimes comedy works better in one series or another. It's just I don't like when I see people say there's no development, that this cast of characters, they never really grow towards each other. They really, really have, and I think that's why this 12-episode season was such a riot, and something that has me dying to see more. I mean, the fight itself sure didn't last all that long, but I'm actually glad. Rather than spending 10 minutes on the Destroyer fight, seeing the Destroyer pop up, rather, it's a pretty quick thing, and we get a shit ton of character moments that are far more impactful than seeing a giant mecha versus another giant mecha, right? You know, we've seen that time and time again in your generic show, where it's just like, okay, let's watch a bunch of action. No, this is without a doubt a comedy and character-driven series, and I'm glad that was remaining to be the focus even in its last few minutes in the home stretch there. I mean, Tiger Man was without a doubt probably the worst joke we've seen in this show, and by worst, I don't mean something that wasn't funny, I mean on a, like, literal human level. That is absolutely, he needs to be thrown in the slammer. But the idea of building up to a form of torture because, I mean, like the character is saying, you know, you can't really physically hurt him, you can't do this or that, but you can emotionally scar him. Tiger Man's had some very questionable comments throughout this show, and to see what they're building up to and how he was just trying to get away, and ultimately he just gets by the skin of his teeth, and I'm just like, holy shit. He only had to wear a dress, but it was about to be so much worse. And if Alice and 6 weren't there, holy shit, I mean, there wasn't enough censoring in the world that would have been able to get rid of the image in my mind of what was about to occur with Tiger Man. Tiger Man, the worst, best edition of this show. But I mean, when you're following a group of evil characters, you kind of expect as much. And I'm glad to have an author who's like writing evil characters or writing an evil organization story and actually pushes it as an evil organization story rather than just, oh, like the character saying Russell, oh, you know, you're gonna be an actual good guy despite pretending to be a bad guy. No, they're going to let Tiger Man have his way with you if you don't give us what we want, and that is water, and they got what they want one way or another. I actually really love how they actually tied back to the whole sock ordeal with someone like Grimm saying like she can't wear socks. I thought it was going to be complete bullshit. Nope, she like literally self-destructed because she's not allowed to wear socks and things like that, or footwear. And I mean, just all the little callbacks throughout the episodes. Like, it feels like this, even though the first like month of the show I think was just a really stupid fun experience, by the second and third month of the show, so episodes 5 through 12, it really became something that had good chemistry, a pretty fun story, especially with the whole evil organization. I especially love that episode when we completely focused on them. That, by all rights, should have just been a generic filler type episode, but it actually was a really engaging way to explore their company and how the mechanics of said company operate. Everything about it just feels so well done that, is this a masterpiece 10 out of 10 series? No, but is it a comedy gem? I would say yes. I mean, there's only so many anime that you can find that have that raunchy, just over the top, oh my god, is this even legal type comedy. But I really feel like Combatants really set itself apart, not only by, you know, the series that kind of got this author on the map, but also said like this, if you like one, you're probably going to like the other, but it does its own thing. Instead of being a hero trying to defeat things, but kind of just going day in and day out with your jobs, you have an asshole who's just trying to build a harem when really harems are probably the least likely thing at this point. He may have that giant dong of justice, but I mean, that giant dong of justice is pretty much getting mocked and shunned by the entire world, right? The show was a riot. I'm definitely going to be really interested to rewatch it in the coming weeks here. I'm not sure if it has a dub yet, but I think a dub would be a fun one for this as well. But either way, like, this will be a really fun binge. I'm hoping within a couple of years we'll have some sort of announcement about more. If not, honestly, I'll probably have to check out those light novels. I mean, I do think a big part of why I love the comedy so much is the exaggerated reactions. I love the character designs. I love the over-the-topness. But personally for me, like, this is a show that, while sure, the comedy visually was a big factor, I think how you could write this to be funny on paper could equally be just as great. So, I mean, give it a couple of years. If it's not having more and I'm still dying to see more, which I feel like I probably will be, I'll probably end up purchasing the light novels. I'm not even joking. And I mean, given the fact that it seems like the author's main focus right now is on Combatants Will Be Dispatched, kind of translating that web novel into light novels, I mean, there's probably going to be a shit ton of material for more anime and just for reading in general. So I'm excited to see more, but I'd love to know everyone's thoughts on the last episode. What was your personal favorite moment, and who would you rank as your personal favorite character in this show? Honestly, I have to give the edge to Alice. She's probably had the biggest transformation over the seasons, and I love her being kind of like the mom of the group. Funny enough, my pinned comment last week on last week's review somehow got nuked by YouTube. They just deleted it for some reason, and all the comment entailed was saying like she's the mom of the group, and just like my generic like, hey, leave your comment and things like that. YouTube's on a different role, but maybe it just hates Combatants Will Be Dispatched. But then again, I've seen a lot of like comments get deleted by YouTube itself, so it's kind of on a weird shit. But I'd like to just assume that YouTube hates Combatants, which would make it all the funnier. But let me know your feelings, thoughts, favorite character, all that fun jazz down below. Drop a like to help promote the video, and of course subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.